What about like when you were, when you were first signed at the record company, what was Tommy like? We've heard so much about him.
You know, I'm just, I'm not a fan. I think the only reason why I gave Tommy Mariah's music was because I know of him, I know his caliber, he knew of me, and I've seen him plenty times at Art the Baker's studio. And I wasn't even thinking about the relationship him and I had. I was thinking more about my friend, getting my friend through the door, because my friend didn't have much of anything and I wanted to help her. And I felt that she was super talented, and there's room for all of us, and that's why I did it. And I think that I felt like Tommy was a very, he was a really dominating type of person, and I kind of felt like in his presence I just didn't feel like he was power in music, but I also felt like he can crush you if he wanted to. So for me, after leaving the label, I didn't even want to return to English music, and that's why I transitioned into Spanish, because I just felt like he had way too much power in the music industry, that he can just take that black ball and drop it on you. And I always felt like it was always difficult for me to get a record deal after that. And I figured that one day, whatever happens was meant to be, and they end up getting divorced and we end up rekindling our friendship. And it was all because I called her mom, and I told her mom that I really wanted to talk to her and I missed her. And she ended up calling me, and after end up calling me, her and I reconciled, and she was going through her divorce, and she was creating that Mariah Carey Around the World show, and it was me and it was Brian McKnight on the show. And we talked about her covering my song, I Still Believe, and me doing one of her songs, All Alone in Love. And then it just never really took place after that. So then after doing her special, I was just like, you know what? I just kind of like, I can't, I'm so sorry that
That's okay.
I kind of
You're
feel like,
busy.
I kind of feel like, I don't know how to explain it. I wasn't thinking about the music end of it. I was thinking more of the friendship end of it, because that's what really hurt me the most. But with Tommy, I don't know, I just really didn't, I just didn't feel that sense of appreciation from him. I felt like he thinks he was entitled for me to do that. After I gave him her and he dropped me, he was just like, well, I got to focus on her, too many similarities. I think you should just stay in the dance music vibe. And I was like, well, I'm not a dance artist. I have versatility in my music, and I'm not going to give up. So when I left, I started doing music on my own, and then ended up getting a publishing deal with Sony Music as a songwriter through Deirdre O'Hara and Marvin Cohen. And then I went to Cannes and Madame, and then I was picked up by a Latin label, and I literally tooth and nail learned Spanish to the point that I was able to understand it, read it, and write it. I wrote it phonetically. I got a record deal, and I ended up getting a top 20 Latin hit and started putting out Latin albums, and then got signed to another Latin label. And then that's when my career started to catapult all over again.
And you taught yourself Spanish. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know any Spanish. My mother's Puerto Rican and my dad's Israeli. And for me, I just started writing. My mother knows Spanish, so my mother would help me. And I would write everything out, phonetic spelling, and she would translate the song so I know what it was about, so I can feel every emotion and every core of the words that I sang. But I had to do it because it was impossible for me to get an English record deal.
Was because you said Tommy was like dropping a black ball or whatever you just said. Was it like
I just,
scary?
yeah, I just felt like he was part of making it so difficult. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, listen, I've been blessed to say that I've still been able to put out great music, and my fans still follow me. I mean, I sang something on TikTok the other day. I got 307,000 likes on it and about 42,000 comments or like,
Wow.
it's just, you know, so I know that what I'm doing is right, because I have huge Latin albums. I've won 2 Latin billboards. I've got my Grammy. I'm right now just registered for the new Grammy association coming up this year for the new album. And I'm just really working hard trying to get my music out there and continue doing what I love. So I don't really attribute the disconnection with Mariah and I because of anything other than one Tommy, I mean, not Tommy, I'm sorry, not Tommy, just to the fact that I kind of felt left down with that interview. But other than that, she was an amazing friend. Totally, totally, totally. We had the best time.
Do you think like after Tommy dropped you and then like you couldn't get something, it was because he blackballed you, so to speak?
I think so. I think so. I think he had that power, but I don't think he has that power now. And if he does, it hasn't stopped me, because now with all this stuff coming out with social media and being able to put your own music on different, internet and digital platforms, I've been able to push my music the way I've wanted to, and I've been super successful. And to date, I'm still performing, obviously not because of COVID, but I still have big records. I just won 2 Latin billboards. I've had top 20 records, and I am jumping back into the English music industry now because I think I'm ready, and I miss it, and my fans miss it.
I want to talk a lot about your new music and about your Latin music, so I have a lot of questions about that. Well, you keep a positive attitude. Like, I don't know if someone was trying to like blackball me. Okay, maybe you don't know for sure, but that's still, I don't know. I would be like, this is not okay. You
Well,
seem just, you're just happy. Like, how do you?
I honestly was alive. I had 2 arms, I had 2 legs, I was breathing, I could see, I could hear, I still had a voice. I wasn't gonna let anyone kill my dreams. And I came from nothing. And I think that's one of the major reasons why Mariah and I connected. We both had nothing. We both came from a poor family. And with that being said, I wasn't going to let this one man think that he can run the world and the whole music industry. And if that's the case, at the time when the music industry being as powerful as it was when he was in the music industry, in terms of the whole Casablanca records, the Sony, the Columbia, I figured they're not the only company, and some way, somehow, I'm gonna keep my music out there. So I found a way to do it, and I kept doing it. For me, my mother always taught me, don't let anyone kill your dreams. You are the dream, you make it happen. Persistence is prevalence. If you give up, it's because you gave them the upper hand. If you don't give up, it's because you're fighting furiously to keep what's yours. And that's what I did.
That's good life advice. What about when Mariah covered I Still Believe? That must have been,
That was amazing. Oh no, oh my gosh. I was really, really happy. She sent me a message, and then I called her, and she's like, hey, I'm going to be doing this special, and everything that you've done for me, and you've always been there for me, and you took me under your wing, and I really want to do something special. And I'm like, what? She goes, I'm going to recut I Still Believe. I'm like, no way. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, it's so awesome. I'm so excited for you. So she's like, but I want you to be on a show that I'm doing. And she set everything up, and the stylist met with me. And I don't feel bad that she covered the song. I actually was happy. And I think it was amazing for me to have put such an impact on someone so talented and so well known. So for me, it was amazing. I was super happy, and I was supposed to cover one of her songs, but unfortunately it didn't pan out the way it was supposed to. I was supposed to meet with Randy Jackson, but it didn't pan out because I was already touring with the Spanish. So I never got to cover her song. And then that's when I had the interview with Wendy. And then after that, our friendship kind of fizzled out.
Do you think the media is just, especially when it comes to women, this, like, let's create this narrative of like woman A versus woman B?
I think it's more the fans. A lot of it is the fans. I think that a lot of the lambs are just, I see a lot of them to be very negative when they don't even know the story. Like, I still see Mariah put beautiful posts up about me, and in her book, how nicely she spoke about me. If I was to see Mariah in the street tomorrow, I think it would be nothing but a hug and a kiss, and I miss you, sis, and God, it's been so many years. Like, I'll always love her, and I genuinely mean that from the bottom of my heart. I have not one jealous bone in my body. And I want everyone to know that, and stop creating this narrative that we're enemies and that we're against each other. She's a beautiful person. I'm a beautiful person. I have a great heart. She has a great heart. Things happened, and sadly, friends have misunderstandings, and sometimes you grow apart. But that doesn't mean what you have in your heart for someone goes away for good. She's my older daughter's godmother. And for me, she'll always have a special place in my heart.
And life is long, and like sometimes you just go through periods of not speaking to people, and that doesn't mean that you don't have love for them in your heart and that you
Right.
will come back to them again.
Right. Right.
When did you guys last speak? Like, how long has it been?
I think like 7 years ago, 8 years, maybe almost 9 years it's going to be.
What about the book that you just mentioned? Did you?
Just that, how sweet I was, and how much me and my mom did when she was sick, and how my mom would make her. I would tell my mom, make Mariah soup. Raya's not feeling well. She'd be in the studio all night and sleep most of the day. And I remember one time she was really sick. I bought her chicken soup. And I remember when she first started working for me, she wasn't making a lot of money, and I would pay her a little extra. I would buy her, like, I bought a pair of sneakers or a bathing suit one time. She wanted to get a bathing suit, but she didn't have enough money. And I was like, here, I'll buy it for you. Got her the bathing suit. She went to the party with me. She borrowed my clothes, but she couldn't borrow my sneakers, my heels, because her feet were too big. So she wore her white Keds, and those were the ones that had the holes underneath. But I didn't know that till after. And I don't, like, I think just things, like I said, happen for a reason. And I wish everybody would really get that bad, energy and, persona about me, that, oh, we're enemies and we're rivalries. We're really not. I'm sure she wishes me nothing the best. Everything in her book was so positive about how much she loved me and how special I was to her. Until date, I feel the same way. And I think that someone has come between us. I know back in the day they call it gossiping. So people gossip so much until the day her and I meet face to face again is when we'll be able to bury the hatchet and create the friendship that we had and let it continue to be everlasting. Like, for me, it's sad because I don't think we were able to finalize the bury the hatchet and move beyond it. And I wish we could have, because not because of who she is, but because of what we had. And that's a sisterly love. She was my friend, she was my sister, and she's just someone that I could just really say genuinely, when I first met her, before things got really big for her, I just felt a lot of people were in her head, and I just didn't think she was in the right place or the right space at the right time. And she says it in her book. A lot of the times she was kind of like guarded and couldn't do anything. So for me, I think one day, God willing, we'll run into each other and everything will hopefully be buried, and we can be friends again. And if not, I will take to my grave that I created and, found the biggest talent in the whole world of, the music history.
Yeah. If you guys did run into each other, like, what's the first thing you would say?
Hi.